Good morning and welcome to KidNuz, sponsored today by the Anderson family of Oakland, California. I'm Tori. Today is Tuesday, March 23rd, 2021. And we begin with a frontline healthcare worker taking superhero comparisons to heart. Faster than a speeding bullet and wearing a Superman costume, a Pennsylvania pharmacist and his crew vaccinated 300 people an hour for a total of 3,000 at a local high school gym over the weekend. But this isn't the first time Mayank Amin slipped on the blue tights. On New Year's Eve, when Mr. Amin had one last prescription to fill for a boy in the neighborhood, he surprised the young patient by delivering it dressed as the Man of Steel. And just last month, he braved 8 inches of snow, not in a coat, but in a cape, to deliver 1,200 fresh doses into the arms of his community. There's a chance that Mr. Amin and all the other frontline superheroes can someday trade out COVID shots for COVID pills. The pharmaceutical company Oravax plans to begin trials of an oral vaccine in June. Even if the studies are successful, it'll take a year or more before the pills find their way into doctors' offices. On the positive side, it might mean we can all skip the jab if booster vaccines are needed. Did you know there's a giant mess up in space? According to NASA, more than 9,000 tons of debris from old satellites and spacecraft is floating around in the atmosphere, much of it moving faster than a speeding bullet. It's dangerous for the International Space Station, future cosmic travel, and could knock out the still working satellites we rely on for our phones and televisions. A company called Astroscale thinks the answer is magnets and began testing its new space cleanup technology yesterday. Its plan is to use a device to attract the junk, then yank it low enough to burn up in Earth's atmosphere. According to NASA, the smaller the junk, the more dangerous because it's harder to avoid. Pieces the size of a marble are reportedly big enough to cause damage to spacecraft or satellites, and those the size of a grain of salt could puncture a spacesuit. Prince Harry and Meghan Markle's much-talked-about interview continues to cause royal hand-wringing. The BBC is reporting that Buckingham Palace has ordered a diversity review following the couple's claims of racist behavior within the family. While the palace already has rules in place to make sure everyone is treated equally and with respect, sources say improvement in that area has been slow. In the meantime, the Sunday Times is reporting that Prince William denies his brother's claim that he feels trapped in his royal role. A friend says it's actually quite the opposite. The future King of England is more committed to the monarchy than ever. The pictures are enough to make your skin crawl. Record-breaking floods in Southeast Australia are bringing with them some unwanted house guests. Spiders, thousands and thousands of them are making their way to higher ground, sometimes climbing up and over people's homes to get there. And the 8-legged creepy crawlies aren't alone. Matt Lovenfoss, who lives on his family's farm in New South Wales, has spotted snakes taking refuge in the trees. Mr. Lovenfoss told CNN that after living there all his life, he's taking all the critters in stride. More than 16 inches of rain has fallen in the last week, and the wet weather is expected to continue through tomorrow. That's it for KidNuz. A big thank you to all our generous donors who help keep the only daily podcast of news just for kids going. If you'd like to make a donation, even $5 a month will help, and it's tax deductible through our fiscal sponsor, Independent Arts and Media. Just go to our website, www.kidnuz.org. Now, our KidNuz quiz. According to NASA, a piece of space junk the size of a grain of salt could do what? Puncture a spacesuit. A Pennsylvania pharmacist is dressing up as what superhero to deliver vaccines? Superman. If trials are successful, what could one day be another way to get a COVID vaccine? By swallowing a pill. Floods in Southeast Australia are bringing what onto people's homes and property? Lots of snakes and spiders. And one for the road. An unusual case of puppy love's been caught on camera in Loveland, Colorado. While out in the snow with a pair of Great Pyrenees puppies, Lauren Sturgis came upon a herd of wild elk just outside her property. One of the pups plopped himself down next to the fence, wagging his tail and waiting patiently. He didn't need to wait long. First one, then another of the elk sidled up to the railing, nuzzled the pooch, then kissed him on the nose. Miss Sturgis caught it all on her phone, called the moment magical and a nice reward following a long weekend of hard work. Before we go, it's time to give a KidNuz shout out to our teachers and their classrooms, starting with Mrs. McManus at Frank E. Thompson Middle School in Newport, Rhode Island, Mrs. Pankratz at Sturgis Elementary in Sturgis, South Dakota, Happy Chappy at La Costa Heights Elementary in Carlsbad, California, and finally to Illinois for Mr. Ellman at Central Elementary in Wilmette, and to Chicago for Ms. Donnelly and her Chicago Ag School Cyclones. Thanks for listening, everyone. We hope you tune in for more KidNuz tomorrow morning.